Should the Federal Reserve be paying closer attention to the message in the markets right now about growth and inflation?
Well, I don't think they're watching the proper statistics. As far as I'm concerned, monetary policy is interesting but not relevant to what the longer term, or even intermediate outlook is going to be. As I've argued for quite a while, I think that the issue of entitlements has been, which is just rising with the population and aging of the population. But the data show unequivocally that it is crowding out capital investment dollar for dollar. And that's been true since 1965. And that says basically that productivity growth is going to be less than we expect, and as a result of that, a lower GDP. So it's a somewhat different outlook than I think is the conventional wisdom at this time.
So you think the Fed should be paying more attention to that? Should they have not raised interest rates in December?
No, I think the Fed is doing fine. I'm just saying that fiscal policy is the critical issue. Monetary policy is not at this stage. At some points, it's critical, but this is not one of them.
A few weeks ago, you made some headlines warning that investors should run for cover. Is that the risk you were looking at, the slowdown in productivity and the rise of entitlement spending?
Well, that's pretty much the same story as I'm now indicating. But I remember the run for cover issue. I think I was trying to get out of the rain.
What about the markets right now? How do they look to you? I mean, we're what, 14% off the highs in the S&P 500? It's been a turbulent few months.
Well, we have a complex system in my office in trying to evaluate price-earnings ratios. And what our data system shows is that the market is probably still a bit too high. Not a great deal, but somewhat.
Based on what's happening in the real economy?
Well, it is basically what we do is we take price-earnings ratios and turn them upside down so you get earnings-price relationships. And we can attribute that the sum, the total of earnings price directly related to the current data on the rate of return on a lot of different assets, but mainly it's real long-term interest rates which drive the numbers.
Mr. Chairman, I want to ask you about taxes today because one of the debates brewing this morning is whether or not marginal rates in a dream world for some, especially in the Democratic Party, should be up to 70% in tax brackets, say $10 million or more in annual income. Would that make sense given your concerns about fiscal policy?
Well, if you're willing to take a significant drop in economic activity, I would suggest that. Or maybe I better make myself clear. I think it would be a terrible mistake.